All right, I'll let you guys come in and view this. Here we go. All right, here we go, guys. If you wanna hang out with Nug, I'm just gonna show you exactly kind of everything that I'm seeing over here on my end. Bless me. Gamma Charm Vega. The Gamma Goose. The Gamma Goose. Okay. So come on in, geese. Come on in. Come on in. If you guys want to watch, you guys can hang out with Old Man Doug if you want to. So let's see here. So yes, in a situation like this, like I said, I think where this gets to be really interesting, just kind of looking at the positioning, is I think the bigger issue and the big problem right now is probably this strike, the 7450. God, I mean, you hate to fucking see it because technically it's all literally just net negative gamma, but the zero DTE stuff is completely gone in sort of like a short squeeze kind of way. Let me see stream settings. Oh, it's private. Oh, I made the stupid stream private. Try again. Here you go. I made the stupid stream private. That's on me, mates. That's on me. Alright, there we go, geese. Now you guys should be able to see and hang out with Old Man Nug. Let's see. VEE earnings tonight. Don't sleep on this one. Vega's decay into the AI complex. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like I said, if you just kind of look at things like Vega, and especially in particular Volga, you know, wait, it says Spyglass, not Swamp Flow. That's fine. I still have to update the thumbnail. I don't, you know, that doesn't really bother me too much. But what I want to show here is, so this is the Vega view, but then this is the Volga view for the day, right? Wait, are these 0 days or all? Ah, there's 0 DTs. Interesting. So this is Volga on the day. Interesting. Let's see. Interesting that it's actually Volga right now. I don't know what that is, Ponzi. I don't know what you're looking at. Is that like for the tab for everything? Oh, that could just be like the browser, the cookie thing at the top. So you should average in here. Okay, so what was I going to say? So I don't want to really necessarily watch Volga. I want to watch more so Vega. So in terms of raw positioning, as you guys can see here, if you guys are watching, for the most part, I think the reason why we're rejecting here is because it's just a crazy amount of hedging pretty much across the board, especially from looking at right in the pre-market look, guys, before the day even like started going or anything. I feel like this is definitely where things are very interesting. Because, you know, I look at days like today, Learner, and the first thing I ask myself, Learner, if you're paying attention, is could today be like one of those miracle days? Could today be like one of those days where the market just kind of goes all the way up, gets to a very, very, very particular spot in the marketplace, and then just crashes all the way back down? Absolutely 100%. But there's a lot of problems. Right now, the Charm and the Gamma are pretty bullish, right? For the time being, for now. And kind of like what we were saying a little bit earlier, our nice little support level was the 73.85 spot, right? Just because of the sheer positioning from the pre-market stuff. But where I think things kind of get tricky is now that we're up here, as you guys can see, we've done a nice gamma squeeze above through 74.30, and we're still actually buying above 74.40. So the squeeze, it's over in terms of like, okay, the market can't really go massively much more. I see that the positions have changed. It can't really go like another 50 points on the day, but there is one lone wolf of a spike and a strike sitting right here at 74.60. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but I feel like personally, if we were to reach that spot, right? If we were to get to 74.60, what would the actual odds be that the entire marketplace itself would just go and start to just capitulate down, right? What would those odds actually be? Because as options flow starts to kind of flatline a little bit here, let me actually see what the gamma and the customer positioning looks like. Because I think we can keep going. I better get a long apology, Bonzi. I think we can honestly just keep going. I'm not worried about the all positioning. I'm more so focused on the 0DT. So look at this, guys. I mean, this is kind of interesting. The 0 days, for some reason today, these guys are holding okay put options in the money, but then this one really kind of catches my eye. They're literally just short calls right there, but then they're long puts, long calls, and then just long puts, long calls. Interesting. You know what my gut is telling me, learner? Imagine if this was one of those days where, fuck it, you just buy an out of the money 0DT put that's going for, like I said, $6-7, and you manage to turn that thing into something like $35 or $45 by closing bell, because it's not necessarily the charm drift. It would be more so a trigger to sell on gamma, and then everything just goes and falls apart because of the charm positioning, not the intraday update positioning, just more so the positioning before the market even kind of started going on the day. That's kind of really what I'm more so referring to here, learner. Imagine if that was kind of the case. You know, these miracle days, they do happen. It's very rare, and today would definitely be one of those miracle days. But there's only one last level to actually short, which is 74.60. Regardless of whatever the intraday data has been. Like I said, the intraday data, in my opinion, at this point, is pretty garbage. You know, I think the intraday data, it just doesn't work. For some reason, it shapes these levels of long and short calls and puts, etc. throughout the day, but it doesn't actually do a really good job at telling you where a top could be or where a bottom could be. The only real insider insight positioning that I think is out there is literally just by looking at the pre-market stuff, because the accuracy is just completely unparalleled. It's just unmatched, especially when you're looking at things like, okay, like this gamma wasn't here on the intraday updates as the market was going. This gamma was just here from the pre-market of just long calls at 74.30, and then they literally did a short squeeze above it, right? So that's why I'm kind of like, yeah, the intraday updates are kind of garbage, because they can form these charm and gamma heat maps, but in reality, what's really going on here, let me actually see something. Hold on, let me look at this. So I have the 920 projection a little bit. So this would be the 920 projection. Interesting. So it's mostly all bearish until you kind of get towards like, oh, it's actually all bearish no matter what. And then we're kind of at the flipping point on the projection view a little bit. So maybe this is actually where the top of the market might be then. Let's see, because we're riding it pretty well, pretty close. I still think it's actually a little bit higher than where we're currently at. Yeah, I still kind of feel like if you really actually wanted to be a bear, we're not there yet. You have to go a little bit more, and then you could actually be a big bear, and then get like a really big sell-off going. But I mean, look at the volatility up here. These guys they are really trying to sell. Somebody big is trying to sell it up here, so it could just be the 74.50 response. I mean, you don't actually think that this whole market goes and fucking falls right back down on the day, do you? Huh. Huh. There's a good amount to think about here, for sure. Oh, did my camera just freeze and die? I think it just died on me. Yeah, I feel like this camera has been, like, really just not that helpful. It's just been dying lately. Stupid thing. Doesn't want to actually work. So the 920 projection is actually fairly bullish versus, like, the projection of right now. Yeah, that's probably what I would argue. I would definitely argue that the market itself. I mean, with these fucking customers, everybody's long out of the money put options. But the more I think about it, I don't actually know if these guys actually know what they're taking and what they're actually trading. I feel like that's the big kicker here is these guys don't, they may not actually quite understand what it is that they're actually trading. I think. I feel like that's what's really crazy about day trading, guys, is in one trade you can change your life. This is going all the way back down. It can, but hold your horses there, Ponzi. I think we are going back down too, but you gotta trigger it first. You can't just start selling because you want to sell. I think you need somebody really big that actually wants to pick a spot. My guess. Man, why does it smell like raw fish in my house? Hang on, one sec. Today. Sorry, guys, I just went for a stroll out front. Today could just be that lucky day where it does happen to do it. Telling you guys, today could just be that day. You really never know when it comes to this business, guys. Telling you, you really never know. You know what I'm saying, Ponzi bitch? You never know, man. Good thing it's going to 60. The weighted average price is this. Maybe you remain fat slave, basically. What the hell? I honestly just hate how these guys are rejecting 7450 because of the all gamma situation. I really am not the biggest fan of this shit. So wait. Where did they actually try to sell from today? 7405. And that gamma kind of cancels out, but then we go higher, and there's just more in the money puts that these guys have to deal with. Interesting. I still feel the level is right here at 74.94. I feel like this is the spot to do it. Because think about it, right? If you're looking at 0DT positional hedging, you're saying, okay, anything down here is a buy. This is your 2 standard deviation buy. Anything up here is a sell between 25 and 10 on the index. But then the market goes and does a short squeeze above 30. It's totally fine, completely normal. It's not like any of these are short. And technically, they already shorted them from opening bell, which is what they love to do in this game a lot. It's kind of surprising, Ponzi, that these short calls here rallied us as much as we have rallied, because my guess is it's definitely insiders. So when you look at the positioning, I think what that tells me is if insiders were willing to do that from this here of 6 million, then they're very likely willing to do it here because there is hedging up here that's very bearish on today's positioning. Do you see this, Ponzi? I don't know if you're actually watching the stream, but this is very bearish hedging on the 0 days. So that means between 65 and 75, these guys are major bears. But then what's funny is at 60, there's a short call. So You know, and then over here, this is a fucking mind fuck because literally this one is just literally just bearish hedging everywhere. So this one's impossible with one massive position up here at 7,500. Like I understand this position, I completely get it. That's the stability level, and even Vega is just kind of like, as long as we're in this red, there's still some danger. I say patience, Ponzi. I think the market still wants to go higher. That's my gut. I feel like they still want to go to 94. Like somebody big has to know that there's something up there for them, and that's probably why they're literally waiting to be bears up there. That would be my best guess. Is holy crap! Somebody just traded a massive out of the money put option on SPX here to 74.10. What the f? Hold on. Somebody bought a gigantic 74.10 put option. How many did they fucking buy? Damn, somebody bought 2,000 of these motherfuckers recently. Damn, somebody's long 2,000 out of the money puts. Holy shit. Yeah, there's only one spot, which is 74.60. We just have to hope and see if it's actually going to go there. Because if not, if they decide to sell beforehand, this is literally all going to come crashing back down. If they decide to sell from here at 74.50. I'm not a fan of that. I think that's too easy. I think it's a little bit sneakier to go here. Do a stop loss, and then crash the stock market. I feel like that is a much, much, much better trade. Because think about it. Imagine if you're a giant insider and you're kind of like, okay, where would we actually want to pump and dump the whole market? You know, like where would you actually want to destroy the entire stock market from? I would say, yeah, 74.50 is a good candidate, but I would actually say the data probably wants here, 74.60. That's what I would say, is it probably wants right there. That's literally the only spot, in my opinion, that makes any fucking sense. Like, there's no other level that I would sit there and say, oh yeah, do it from here. 74.50 is a maybe, but at 9.30, let's see, options flow is starting to change pretty dramatically. Like, they are indeed starting to change up the index positioning flow in the day. So that's kind of unique. But no, I'm not looking at that and sort of cowering, thinking that the market's just going to start selling. I think Charm is still too bullish. That's a problem. That means the only real way that you can actually get this market to sell is probably from an insider that actually wants to sell. That only level is literally 74.60 because everything up there is massively bearish hedging. So why not go for 74.93 futures and then short the market there and then hold into the after hours and just watch this thing completely just dive bomb yesterday or tomorrow into the close? Like, there is obviously a reason why this hedging right now is extremely bearish. There is a reason. They probably are going to want to sell from the FOMC thing tomorrow. They're very likely going to want to sell. I don't see how there could be any real reason for this type of hedging positions, or well, this type of hedging to be going on without these guys at least wanting a dominant sell. So they know they want to sell. But the problem is they don't know where to sell from. I'd say just go and, let's see, is my video camera still working? No, the camera's still frozen. Okay, great. So I'd say just go and sell from 74.60. So don't worry too much about whatever the hell this price action here is going to be. Worry more about what it's going to happen when we get to 74.94, because then I bet you guys $1 million you can take a one-day put and have that thing go 5x by tomorrow's close. I'd be willing to put a lot of money on that. I'd be willing to put a lot of money on that shit. And you can buy like an out of the money, 74.05. Let's see. Well, let's see. If it's technically about 20 more points. Oh, I bet you could buy like a 74.20 then, actually. You could probably buy like a 74.20, get a little bit of a gap down, a sell tomorrow. FOMC comes out, big fat drop. 50, 60, 70 points. Whatever it is, 50, 60, 70 points. I bet you could buy a put option right now today for like 16, 17 bucks. By the time you're done with it tomorrow, it could be like $60. Just a big fat return on those 1 days or something, Because everybody has puts right now. So like what? Everybody's in their index put options is just gonna go to zero? That doesn't make any sense. There's absolutely 100,000% a hedging level where these guys want to sell from. Absolutely a hedging level where these guys want to 100% sell from. And I'm telling you, my gut guess says go fucking higher, but these motherfuckers are kind of front running it a bit. The problem is charm, though, Ponzi. It's not the market's not weird. It's just following the data it has. There's nothing necessarily weird about this. It's just following charm. So for right now, my best recommendation is don't short yet, because I think what this sell off a little bit here is actually doing is it's a front run price action, sort of get in while you still can head fake. I think if they decide to sell here, then great. I'm gonna buy the fuck out of the dip, right? But I don't think that this is the sell. There's too much positive charm up here. It will, but not. I don't think so today. It will, but I don't think so yet. I'd really hate to see this thing start selling before actually going up there. Because, like, I get it. There is this hedging that's, like, literally everywhere. I'm telling you, I'd really fucking hate to see that. And I think you would too, man. Trust me. There's a lot more money to be made by actually timing the level pretty perfectly. There's a lot more fucking money to be made. Because if today is a miracle day, let's just pretend today's miracle day, right? And the markets actually go to that spot that we're seeing right now where they're actually short those 0DT calls and just hedged up short. Dude, look at what the charm would be. Literally, so you have in the money put hedging up here with a perfect sort of positive gamma stoppage point to say, don't buy above this, right? Look at what this positioning is. Long calls, short puts, short puts, short calls, short puts, long puts. This is from charm. Let me tell you. Bearish, 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 bullish, bearish, bullish. So the pin is probably right here on the day. This is where the market would likely pin. So it could be a miracle day. You could literally get 30 more points down from here, but I want like the super miracle. I think it can happen if we go here, because then market makers will very likely sell, because like I said, the accuracy of this pre-market stuff is just insane. So like I said, imagine we move to this level, right? You hit that spot, and then the market just starts coming down like this, and then just like really starts to sell. I mean, that's a miracle trade, in all honesty. Thinking about that on intraday trading, I don't think it can happen today, but I definitely do believe that it can happen tomorrow in the after hours. So, like, I think if we just keep grinding up all day, that's the level we want to buy puts, and then just watch the entire market into the closing bell. Just have like a really bad time. Even if it's, only going down 10, 15, 20 points, I bet you will see something big in the after hours. I bet you a lot of money we'd see something huge in the after hours. I'm telling you, it's the only trade, in my opinion, that makes any sense at this point. Same with like the buying at 85 on the index. It's literally the same fucking thing. Like, if these guys want to start selling up here, I've got a lot to kind of deal with right now, gamma-wise. God, I just wish that this could be, like, the miracle trade of the day. Like, markets just literally sit there and they just are like, fuck it, we're going straight down, fucking 50 points into the closing bell. Let's say there's, like, an hour left of trading. Boom. You get, like, a phenomenally cheap 0DT put option. Sell it for 10x. That would be pretty crazy, but those days are very rare. Very, very, very extremely rare to actually get a setup like that. Honestly, it's just because these motherfuckers, bro. These players that just come in and rig markets like this. Gotta make it untradeable to some slight degree. But that's a trade that I want. That's a trade that I'm after, because I feel like it's like the perfect. It's literally the perfect plan. It's like, okay, we spent all day buying, and yesterday was all day crashing. Boom. Literally towards closing bell. Hit that spot and just start selling. And then who gives a shit whatever the after hours has, because then literally the after hours just gets back right into hedging. Like, literally the after hours is just straight back into put hedging. Like, there's literally no support on this tape for tomorrow until you literally get back to 73.90. That's kind of crazy. Like, look at that shit. That's literally just like the perfect fucking plan. Like, look at this shit. Literally tomorrow is nothing but perfect and bearish hedging. Like, it's rigged today because of the 0DT market. So yeah, buyers will just take this. course they're just going to keep taking this. I mean, that's the only trade I would take. That's the only one right there that I would sit at and say, yep, now do it, you know? Well, remember, charm, right? Remember, Ponzi, it's all a scam. Everything about this business is all a scam. There's a reason why the markets do exactly what they do. There's a reason why this shit does what it does. Trust me, man. Trust me. You have to be very patient when it comes to like trading. Timing is like everything. And the only secret that we've ever been able to figure out. Can you share more details on strategy and system just found you a minute ago? Sure. Oh, Ron. Ron. What the heck? Sure. I don't know if you can hear me, Ron. But essentially, what it is that we're looking at. So this is a custom build modeling thing that I've gone and built. And this basically showcases just true gamma, true delta, vega, volga, charm, VIX positioning over here. This is all just gamma levels that are in the marketplace. My theory to the market, it's kind of, I mean, really explaining this stuff is actually like really, really difficult. It's kind of in depth. It just takes a pretty big, vast understanding of like gamma and positioning and all that. Okay, very cool, Ron. But like, what was I saying? I trade basically off of index data positioning. I think that the markets are set up from insider trading through these index positions. And if you understand each and every setup throughout the day with an overlaid charm and gamma and volga, vega heat maps kind of to see what the market is likely going to do, you will start to notice that your success rate of trading is going to go up massively because you can start to predict exactly where and when and how the markets are going to go and bounce. I've been day trading for about 11 years and only really doing SPX. I am literally probably what you would call a master of SPX, not necessarily master as in like perfect trading SPX, but a master in terms of understanding gamma, charm, and these real principles from like an actual like sort of quantitative perspective. So not like very basic things where you go to unusual whales and it's like, oh, the gamma's positive or the gamma's negative. Just more so in terms of the effect that these positions on the customer positioning side of things has. And we have it updating live as well too here. So all the positions change throughout the day, which I personally think is actually a scam. I don't actually think that there's any real actual nuance here. Sorry, what do you mean with real gamma and real delta? Net gamma and net delta? No, this is real customer positioning. So it's real customer positioning from SPX. SIBO sells licensed data for like 20K a month. Yeah, they literally sell you licensed data so that you can build out models like this. And I've done it for the hedge fund that I worked with partially. That's kind of where this program came from. But this program is actually for the NASDAQ investor whale that I'm actually doing work for right now. So that's really what this program actually is. What you are basically looking at, if you haven't already like seen these things, Ed, UDCP, whatever that name is, this is like real actual modeling that banks and, you know, really big funds and firms actually look at to give the best, most accurate depiction of where market makers are involved and how they're exposed in terms of intraday movements. So a lot of people don't actually understand these things. It's a really big, deep rabbit hole dive, but you can basically build out real modeling from real gamma. So the way that people get gamma, right? So the way that people get gamma, like from, you know, unusual whales or whatever the heck you think you know about it, they're just doing, you know, the open interest of an option times 100. Like literally, I'll show you. See if I can pull up something here, maybe like a application, whatever. Oh, I see. Yeah, I've heard about real customers. Yeah, it was too expensive. I know. Well, there's a reason why. The reason why it's so expensive is because you'll actually, if you can kind of crack the code to it, be able to really get on a very strong probability of knowing where the markets are going to go day by day. Like, this is all the positioning before the market even opened. And you can pretty much see, to some extent, how the futures market is trading relative to these levels that are just kind of extended out left and right. Like, you can see that this is perfect support, that this pink one is perfect resistance. You can see that this pink one becomes then perfect support. You can see that this big blue one, we kind of blast through it. You can kind of see where the market's kind of topping a little bit right now. These levels, if you really understand it, are extremely informative in terms of making day trading decisions. And what we're kind of talking about, of course, and what we're kind of talking about right now a little bit, my theory, what I've done like for the hedge fund and what I've done for this NASDAQ investor guy is I think personally the real answer is right here in these updates. If anybody's using this, you can just click on QuantNug's view. This isn't mine to sell. This is the NASDAQ investors to sell. I don't think he's selling it anymore, but you can always reach out. I don't know. But I freeze the 9:20 a.m. and then I look at the intraday updates. So this is the positioning that's just updating throughout the day as customers and retail and everybody just tries to trade, etc. But this is like the stale look from before the market even opened. And do you see my theory about, oh, fuck, if anybody's actually watching this right now, real quick, I don't mean to kind of get sidetracked here. Look at the charm positioning. So you see how now charm is actually very, very, very closely lining up with my idea of basically where to potentially short today. There's literally a pocket of bearish charm that is now positioning itself that's perfectly lined up well with the pre-market data Ponzi. Are you seeing that, man? It's literally perfectly lining itself up with the pre-market data itself as of literally maybe a couple minutes ago, about 10 minutes ago. So my theory, the work that I've kind of worked on over the last probably like 6 years, is I think that the pre-market positions are basically the insider trading that's going on with firms and funds and banks that actually know where futures are likely going to go for the day. And they're taking these positions based off of that, right? So when customers take like short in the money calls, it's usually very bullish. And when they take short in the money puts, it's also very bullish. I'm sorry, it's very bearish. It's the other way around. But really, more than anything, these positions are just for hedging, right? So given the setup today that we're kind of looking at, this is just a conglomerate of bearish gamma for the most part until you kind of get around this area here, about 74.05, give or take. Where things get really interesting is on the 0DTEs, from just looking at pre-market, everything up here is just massive bearish hedging for today. Everything. It's not that massive, but it's just all bearish up here. Why would somebody be long puts, long calls, long puts on the top 15, but then they're just decently short calls before getting into that area? Because if somebody's selling out of the money calls, that's kind of like a magnet to some degree, but at the same time too, it actually will literally do what it's advertising to do. When we reach that level, market makers will begin to start selling futures. That's the idea behind it, right? They will literally begin to start selling and unloading futures that they have on their books to manage that delta risk, right? Because of the gamma. So my theory is it's not necessarily about intraday options flow. So it's not about what these guys are doing throughout the day in terms of like day trading these things like, oh, we're buying calls, we're buying puts, etc. Because that's all lagging in a concurrent indicator. So I'll prove it. When you go and you look at something like, let me see here, change this window to this window. When you go and actually look at intraday options flow, like right here on the delta impact, it's extremely bullish. Everybody's selling puts, everybody's buying calls. That's totally fine. It's a really great visual cue and it works pretty well, right? Oh, this is an interesting response here. But what's interesting is this is very concurrent with the market. So it doesn't actually necessarily precede the market. It's very concurrent. So literally, usually most of the time, whatever the market is doing, options flow is going to be doing too. And then people like on Unusual Whales will sit there and say, oh, well, you know, flow was pretty bullish all day. I don't know why you shorted or this or that or whatever. But the real reality behind this is it's not necessarily about options flow. It's more about the levels that these guys are hedging and taking these positions. Because these are positions that we can prove are real and that do exist. And if you ever wondered why the market plays where it plays from, it's because of SPX positioning. SPX is one of the most specifically tailored products in the entire world. It literally offers strikes per 5 points. And any quant on Wall Street will literally tell you that this is basically exactly how the market is played out because you can literally perfectly hedge to the tick on a very specific strike. So that versus SPY and then all these other things. Yeah, but NASDAQ positioning, dude, I mean, let's just call it as it is. NASDAQ positioning doesn't nearly... Because remember, what we're trying to do is we're trying to prove where market makers have to get involved. We're not talking about where 50 people holding one NASDAQ 0DT spot are sitting at. Like the biggest open interest spot today on NASDAQ, if you actually go and look for call options, first of all, there's like no call options today on NASDAQ. That's kind of interesting. But one of the biggest spots that I'm literally seeing is somebody's holding 35 calls at like 28,070. And then below that, it's like 11 calls at like 27,900. Like I said, I think that there's genuinely some proof that there's probably insider trading going on with NASDAQ, but there's no way to actually prove it because we, one, don't have NASDAQ positioning, so we don't actually know what they're actually holding, and two, the gamma is so small. What we're literally trying to do is we're trying to look and see how market makers themselves are going to be forced to move the market. That's what we're doing, right? So we're sitting here and we're modeling these things out, and this is like pretty much what most desks and everybody else would do too as well on Wall Street, is they'll just model these things out. Because if you know where market makers are forced to buy and sell based on just raw sheer positioning, then you pretty much likely know what the outcome is almost likely always going to be. you pretty much 100% know, hey, because of the positioning right now, this is almost exactly what's going to happen, right? 73.50, that's like 100 and like, oh my God. Oh, you're talking about this one down here on the positioning. That's kind of crazy. I don't think that can happen today. Dude, if that happened, we would be fucking rich if that shit happened today. I mean, my God. Can you imagine shorting at fucking 74.60 and the market falls 110 fucking points into the closing bell? That would be just diabolically insane, especially the day before FOMC. I know for a sheer fact everybody would be sitting there scratching their freaking heads. Everybody would be like, there's just no way that that just happened. That would be a miracle of miracle trades on the day. That'd probably be one of the biggest miracles I think I've ever seen in intraday day trading. That would literally be like spending, I don't know how much are zero DTs going from right now. So they're like literally what, $5, $6? That'd literally be like spending like $6,000 and walking away with like 103 grand by the end of the day. That's kind of crazy. There are a lot of rate hike rumors. Yeah, I mean, I'm certain that all that other shit is real as well, true as well too. And I don't know, maybe it might compel somebody really big to start crashing the stock market. It's definitely a possibility, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a reality. The other question too that we also have to factor in is what's more worth doing, playing the 0 days today or doing a swing trade into the 1 day options for tomorrow? That's the other really big question that we kind of have to ask ourselves on this is what's more worth doing it if we actually get to 74.60? Do you think it's more worth sitting here saying, fuck it, just do a 0 day, see if you can get a miracle? Or, nah, you're going to want to hold this overnight because of the positioning, right? Or whatever the case. Because right now it's literally just nothing but short calls up here. I'm not saying that that can't change. I mean, I think it's kind of crazy that somebody bought like 3,000 of these out of the money puts. That's kind of mentally retarded. I don't know why somebody big would do that. I don't know. I don't think that that guy knows much, to be honest with you, but it's true. It's technically all about this positioning. We're literally 13 points away, too, from it. But what else was I going to say? Where's QQQ right now for today? It's true. Literally playing the 0 DTs, there is a absolute menace of a truth to a reason why the 0 DT positioning pretty much does what it does, especially on days like today. Because, like, I mean, the fact that these guys are rallying almost now 60, 70 points on the day from a short in the money call is kind of crazy, you know, when thinking about it. Because then it kind of makes me wonder, well, what happens when you get to a long, what happens when you get to a short out of the money call? You know, clearly somebody's positioned on to some degree, right? But anyways, what the heck was I saying? So what we're trying to prove here, guys, so Ed, UDCP, whatever the name is, we're trying to prove what market makers have to do. And the best sort of accuracy that I've personally seen over my years of doing this is probably along this path of show me the pre-market positions. Because for some whatever apparent reason, that just tends to be the most accurate of accuracy in terms of how markets are actually moving and trading. It is phenomenally bizarre because even like right now looking at things, I'm like, dude, we're literally 10 points away. And I might literally, what is this?
Let them buy silicon.
Let them buy silicon. Yeah. Silicon.
Let them buy.
Let them buy.
Let them buy silicon.
Let them buy silicon. It's pretty good. I feel like that's what makes day trading such a beast of a game, though, is like, imagine if the whole stock market today was actually really going to fall apart. Like, imagine if everything that's being bought back right now is really going to sit there and hit a big, nasty sell into the closing bell. A lot of people would definitely be sitting here scratching their heads like crazy. They'd be like, I don't get this. I don't understand it. You know, what's up with these bulls constantly just still trying to defend the dips? It's interesting. Or these bears, right? Whatever it is. I don't know. No longer bootleg Jay. It's really interesting, guys, kind of putting this all here. You have very good information perspective of the Greeks. My approach is more from mathematical and statistical point of view. What you're showing me is potential short zones. And what you are showing me as potential reference points that I've calculated from the models. Thank you very much. Oh, yeah, no, of course, man. I mean, look, like I said, you know, everybody has their own sort of like modeling. I'm not saying that, I mean, that's basically what being a quant is. You literally just kind of go and you say, okay, what do we have? And what can we do to work with it in terms of what we have? See, the $1 million question right now that I'm asking myself is, what position do I want to take? Do I want to buy a 1 day and say, fuck it, just hold this into the after hours? Or is the positioning crazy enough? Because, I mean, this literally just looks like a fucking pin. You know, my kilo from perspective for SPX is 74.51. I mean, one idea that I was telling everybody about today in terms of like just relative interesting positioning is, you know, you look at the all gamma over here. This is all positions, just kind of like put on a chart. Literally everybody, for some fucking reason, is just long, deep out of the money calls, but everybody at this area is just holding long puts. I think that tells us as day traders, you absolutely 100 fucking percent, you want to be a bear. You don't want to be a bull going into this Friday. If you're a bull into this Friday, you are potentially in for a world of pain. Like, seriously, like you are in potentially for a massive ride that could go very wrong if you get it completely wrong. But at the same time, too, I'm just kind of like, you know, you still have to pick the perfect level to short because they will literally do everything in their power to force you out before you can actually take a short. The reason why I think it's 74.60 is because it makes the most amount of sense. It's almost like 74.50 is such a perfect psychological level that, of course, a lot of bears would sit there and say, do it, hit it, go, 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 do it, do it, do it, right? And there's actually nothing wrong with that. That's the whole point of these psychological levels is like, you look at them and you're like, yeah, 74.50 is literally the biggest gamma. But then you actually take it a big step further and you're like, okay, so what are they actually positioned for, especially on something like the 0 days? Well, the 0DT positioning right now is actually pretty rough because everybody's short calls, at least for right now. Let me see. When they were short those puts, what the hell did they do that day? I'm trying to remember. We went into that zone, but then we bought back, but then we stayed down. But see, now it's like every single fucking customer is literally short all these stupid ass call options up here. There's only really one trade that I would take, which is literally just short the market. Because like it's true, there's only one spot that makes any sense. I'm wondering how many of these I can actually load up into. Because that's what I'd really do. I feel like what I'd really do right now is I would just load the boat on out of the money puts. And don't necessarily worry too much about, you know, the price of the premium that you paid, because the implied volatility is going to be there no matter what, you know. They're just expensive, you know. The deeper out of the money you go, the more expensive they become. I'm just like, ugh. Like, I don't expect the market to do a capitulation today. That'd be crazy. But if they did, I mean, obviously that'd be fascinatingly interesting. Too short calls into Friday. Puts 45 calls. Yeah, I mean, I feel like you definitely don't want to be a buyer. You definitely don't. Regardless of whatever the hell we're seeing today. I mean, man, this is going to be fucking challenging. Because, like, everybody's short these fucking call options up here. Jesus, these fuckers suck. I hate this shit because I have to like now decide whether I want to do zeros or if I want to do 1 days because every single customer from here to Timbuktu. What is the lowest pullback that they're at least anticipating? The lowest pullback is 74.30, but that's on intraday trades. Intraday trading is just saying and screaming like you just might as well keep going. We still have time to think about it. There's still about 9 more points to go before we can kind of get there. I guess it depends on what time it is, you know. Anyways, yeah, so that's kind of my strategy. I take it from derived things that are factually true. So factually, the problem with like statistical data, the problem with technical analysis, the problem with all these other models is they're usually based on one fine math curve that's always not necessarily accounting for variable change. So like, that's what I mean by that. CCI, or the RSI indicator. If anybody's using CCI or RSI, it's a strict math formula that tells you overbought, oversold, and you can interpret it in a million and one different ways, but it's a very strict math formula. The cool, fun thing about index positioning, about customer positioning, is these variables change every day. And depending on what they're showing you for the day, is what market makers have to dynamically adapt to. So maybe one day these guys are buyers, like today, you know, they're buying because they have to buy because of down here. But then tomorrow, if you look at the hedging, they just become instant market crashers. So today, oh, here comes the short squeeze. Everybody's just blast off mode, and then everybody's getting killed, right? Nobody really kind of understands why this is happening, and it's pretty obvious it's just the positioning. But you have to know these things, and a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't know these things. But then what's really interesting about this is if you actually really take a deep dive and look at things here, the real trade is actually a little bit more, I think, easier than you actually would maybe give yourself credit on this one. I think the real trade, more than anything, is actually playing one-day put options that are kind of out of the money and just really kind of figuring out exactly the level. The problem with a day like today is the fucking positioning. Literally, like, we'll probably ping pong between 74.60 and 74.40 for the rest of this day. I highly doubt that the market's actually going to go and give anything. The big $1 million question is it first one in gets all the pot of gold, or is this market literally going to just take a nosedive and just revert the entire day back towards 74.25 futures into tomorrow's positioning? Because if that's the case, then you might as well play zeros. But the way that these shitheads have put these positions right now, look, there's one really massive charm spot at 74.10. So somebody really big today is betting on 74.10. It doesn't actually mean that the market's going to get there today. Especially because this is like sort of short squeeze with the 0DT paradigm. Yeah, so that's the complexity that I think we're working with right now today. Is it's definitely a short. You absolutely want to short all of this shit. But you don't want to do it just yet. You want to probably do it at a very specific level. But the question is, what the hell is this level going to do? Because technically speaking, all of this fucking positioning from the very beginning of the day is extremely bearish back to literally like fucking, I mean, let's see, you can literally just look at the 920 projection model, right? And you can just be like, right, show some of the data. Yeah, like it's literally bearish up until here, and then charm technically just drifts back down as low as like literally, I'm sorry, not there. It starts to drift, I think, back into this area here, yeah, because you can see like this is kind of where bullish positioning and hedging starts coming in. Because, yeah, that's if you're just going off of the positioning. It's interesting, you know, how these gigantic customers have kind of just set up the market today to just kind of be rigged to go up. I mean, it's honestly not that surprising. They do this shit all the time, every fucking day at this point. Now everybody's got short calls that are in the money. It's kind of impossible to sell against. It's a tough $1 million question. To do the 1 day out of the money puts, or to do the 0DT puts and just bet on it and gamble on it today. The more I look at this positioning, the more I'm just like, yeah, bro, there's just no fucking way. Like, all these customers are just massively short these calls up here. And, like, what? Because of the whole fucking gamma squeeze, short squeeze nonsense. And it's like, well, we're going literally into tomorrow. So, like, I guess it's technically true. Like, where would I be a buyer if I was chasing this? Probably 74.30. So you might be able to capture 20 points back down from 0-day trading. You might be able to. Yeah, see, that's actually a good point. You just might be able to capture 10 points or 20 points back down. Like if, or maybe 30. Because technically, let's see. So it's basically right here is where the last massive beluga whale came into play. I'm sorry. Here on futures. Yeah, right here. This is the beluga at 74.61. So technically, if you were really lucky today, if we were really fucking lucky, like really, really, really genuinely lucky today, right? Like bulls, they lose, whatever, you know. I think it's because of the implied volatility that this can absolutely happen. Let me think. You have to be incredibly lucky. And I think that they're still sellers, because you can still see them wanting to sell, right? You can still see big, decent orders coming in to sell. That is kind of the $1 million question, though, is like, would it be a 0DT move? Because, like, best case scenario would be you go right here to about 93, would be like, you know, my hypothesis. Because then this is bearish. This is technically bearish, but this is obviously a buyer that chased in at a higher price, right? So I'm just like, so that's a buyer that chased in at a higher price because of the gamma. So that's just market makers just forcing a short squeeze, right? Technically, if you go from here and you start selling back to here, you then trigger a move to here, to 48, right? So technically, you could pin the markets right here for the day. You really could. 74.10, because it also then kind of lines up with this intraday players bet a little bit, which is kind of interesting. Because what this guy's probably betting on is like, hey, just in case if we do go down, that's probably where we're going. And I think I see why he's taking that bet, because the positioning from the before the day began is saying, hey, if we go here, you trigger a big sell. This will sell based on charm. This will sell based on charm. This is a huge fucking charm sell, because any long call is always extremely bearish no matter what. A short put is bearish. A short put is also bearish, right? This is your first sign of bullishness because it's a short call that's in the money. So that's probably where there'd be some buying pressure based on just levels. and then this is where it gets bearish again. So these two could actually kind of cancel out, but then this is your hard stop. This is your hard floor at 38. So in some crazy sense of a way, you could capture 50 points down if you are like one of the luckiest traders in like America. I don't think I've ever seen a day like that. Well, that's actually not true. We've been seeing some days like that. To be one of the luckiest day traders out there. Like, you're just sitting here in a freaking 0DT that's just massively dropping markets. I mean, that would be phenomenally lucky. See, and I think it just gets better the longer they kind of hover around this area. So the slower we go in terms of actually getting there, that's actually phenomenally better for us guys. You want them to do this front run sell. This is not the top. This is not where the top of the market will be. They are willing to push higher, so this is not it, in my opinion. This is definitely not the top. Not even close. Not even close to the top. But what this is actually saying is, I think, is it actually is good because it burns more premium for us. So we can time this much better now because of the positioning, right? We can time it a little bit better, especially for the 1 days, because if they slow down, think of it like this: the faster they go to 93 with more time left in the day, the worse it gets for buying puts. If they get there slowly, then it's so much easier because then, let's say there's like an hour left of trading, you don't have to worry so much about an end of day short squeeze or theta decay, because then you have all that premium going into tomorrow. Versus like right now, if you're trying to buy puts, you're literally just going to keep sitting here getting it wrong because the premium decay is so massive, right? So if you time it just right, sometimes I have a rule. Sometimes it's like, don't even take a trade till closing bell. Sometimes I do have that rule that I try to live by too in this group, where I'm like, don't even bother shorting the stock market until we get to closing bell, right? Because sometimes those positions are so extremely one-sided. It's pretty intense. It really truly is pretty intense. Honestly, we've had 2 gap ups lately. And the first thing they then do is this: they just rug us down. And that's interesting. My gut here is telling me that these guys actually do want to sell. Yeah, because see, like, there's some jumping jittery jack orders here, but this is, like I said, this is nowhere even close to the top. I think we're still about 10 points away. I think the reason why we're just selling here is because this is still players that are dumping futures based on their overall hedging. I think that's really probably what's actually going on here. So just wait and just chill. I'm going to set an alert. And that's, like I said, that's what I'm seeing right now. So just wait and chill, you know? And remember, guys, just play the level. Just play the fucking levels, you know? Don't make it complex. Don't make it complicated. You'll save yourself a lot of money and a lot of time by just playing the levels. Because if you try to play what you think is right, you'll very likely end up losing. But if you try to play what the market thinks is right, or at least what these big customers think is right, because, like, think about it like this, right? Out of all customers, who the hell this morning going into today is selling, 600 or whatever the number was? Who is selling 600 of these calls right here at 74.60? Who has the money to do a naked trade like that? Like, who has the money to sit here and sell 600 of these out of the money calls with the 0DT positioning today? It's almost like knowing this is exactly where the market has a hard top. Is the idea the market will have a massive down by tomorrow after FOMC? Yeah, there's a lot of, I'll say this, there's a lot of very extremely aggressive hedging and a lot of very extremely aggressive positioning that is going on in the marketplace. It's literally just long puts everywhere. So I don't think any of these puts have been monetized just yet, meaning they've been, taking profits on these things. I think everybody's literally betting on a big red day tomorrow. I don't think it'll be like 500 points, but I definitely think it could be close to over 100 for sure. Even into like the gap down. I think like what could potentially happen here is, because of today's complex sort of gamma squeeze a little bit because of the 0DT positioning, I think, man, see, this is the $1 million question though. You got to make a choice. You got to decide whether you want to do zeros or 1 days. Because I think what will happen is we'll go here to 93, and that will trigger a big sell. Because after that, it's literally just freaking open season at that point. There's literally nothing to stop this market from really going and capitulating at that point. Like, there's literally nothing, you know? There's nothing to stop this thing from selling. So, like, all they literally have to do is go to that spot, and then bam, it just turns into a nightmare at that point. But see, this is really interesting because they're actually moving it down here with all the 0DT positioning the way that it's stacked and set up right now. That's actually extremely interesting and extremely weird. That's a really good question. How are they able to sell about 11 points through positive gamma from short calls? Doesn't make any sense, does it? Because what I said, what I think it is it's right here. The positioning is right here. That is your trigger to start a market collapse, in my opinion. That is the fucking trigger to do it. So if you get that level, you might as well literally short everything you possibly can, if you can actually get that level to show up. Because I think if these guys are willing to get very close and just keep trying to like get very jittery around there, yeah, I think it's extremely obvious. Unless if there's news that comes out, you know, if like fucking news just randomly comes out, then it's like, well, shit, all right. Like I'm looking at what this sell-off is right here, and I'm like, okay. I'm almost wondering if like some news came out, and that's why the market is like, nope, we're going straight back down immediately. Because charm is just indicating that this is just going to constantly just keep getting bought. However, I would no longer be a buyer on this day anymore either. There's got to be some news on this shit. Let me see. It's a pretty aggressive pump and dump. 30% chance. Yemen launched an attack on Saudi vessel with ballistic missiles. Huh. My guess, my gut is... Oh, there was some news from Iran about 6 minutes ago. Oh, that makes a little bit of sense. Not that much news, but... Oh, the treasury shit as well, too. I forgot about that. Yeah, but that's my guess, is after FOMC, I bet this all just blows up in a big, fat way. I feel like the market's going to blow up tomorrow. It could possibly blow up today, but I think we have to get the trigger to blow it up. Make us a lot of money. That's my guess. My guess is everything blows up tomorrow. Because it doesn't make any sense to me to sell it right now. Yeah, that's my take on it. Is this does not want to sell just yet. Because of how often it's sell. Unless if there's some fucking news, then Jesus. biggest thing that I would be 100% anticipating is an absolute market meltdown for sure into tomorrow. But my biggest thing here, my biggest take on things is like they'd probably just want to keep buying at this point because like that the charm is so bullish, guys. It's actually kind of insane. Like it's pretty difficult to kind of look at this and say, yeah, let's just sell it. You know, I feel like you might be able to news the Houthis are planning to carry on the ballistic missile attack. Oh, maybe that's why the little bit of a panic there. But like I said, I think the trade is fairly obvious. I'm gonna write this down. I think for now it's a buy at 74.30 SPX, so about 74.63 ES futures, and then from there we'll likely travel upwards to about 74.93 ish. That's my best guess. Is if we do pull back, buyers will try to defend it on the day because of the intraday positioning. So this is a complicated day. So the intraday positioning is like, defend it, and then if they defend it, we'll keep going up. I'm telling you, like I really hate to say it, Ponzi. I hate to say it, Geese. Like, what? You guys must really hate each other. It's kind of funny because I don't know what the hell's going on between you guys, Ponzi. But whatever it is, you guys must really hate each other. But I think that's still a move here. Is my guess is they want to still keep markets up for the time being. And they'll probably likely use 74.30. I mean, that's what I would do. I would use 74.30 myself, right? Or would I just start crashing tapes? I don't think I would crash the stock market. Not with all this charm right now. Times at 10 o'clock. No, I mean, like, you literally successfully just short squeeze the entire stock market. Why would you go and crash the whole system? I mean, I wouldn't crash it yet. I would say go here, then crash it. That would be just, like I said, just based off the data. I'm not going off of anything else. I'm just going off of what the data says, guys, about trading today. Just going off of what the data says. Yeah. Let's see. So, yeah. That's kind of what I would go off of. Is I would just say, okay, show me the data, right? So there's a possible chance here that well, I mean, look, it's tough to say because I want to be a bear, but I only want to be a bear at a very specific spot. I don't want to be a bear if like the market can't get there. And the charm just got to be like extremely bullish too. That's the other thing too that you have to kind of factor in a little bit on this is with charm being set up like this, it's going to be difficult to like actually go and crash the tape. But I do want the markets to crash tomorrow though, tomorrow. We're literally about 5 points away, and then it's like, all right, you might have a chance to get long, just maybe. Just keep an eye out to see if like we actually manage to see, because like these negative gamma squeezes are super interesting because this is the level, right? And technically, yes, charm is saying to sell, but then the intraday charm is like, no, dude, it's massively a bid. This is a big key level, guys. Right here, 74.30. Actually wondering, why is this level so big? Hold on, let me look at something here real quick. Give me a second. I want to see what these guys have been putting around this level for the last couple of days. Why is this level so big? It's 63. Because it's 63 futures, right? Yeah, it's like basically right there. Why is this level so big? Oh, I see. This has kind of been like the resistance flipping point a little bit. And now that today they finally kind of got going to the green side, especially after coming off of yesterday's just diabolical, death drop. This move right here, right now, is relatively interesting because it kind of makes you wonder and think a little bit. Yes, the market can absolutely bounce and keep going. That would be interesting if the market was like, nah. I don't want to look at real quick. I want to look at the heat maps we have on the site. Give me 1 second. I want to see what we have over here real quick before I decide to make any crazy trades or anything. The index heat maps that we have from this very latest one. Yeah, so charm-wise, it's extremely bullish. Gamma, we're still an extremely negative gamma. That's another problem. Yeah, so the market is definitely still bullish for right now. And it's actually extremely bullish. I mean, but they don't literally become bears until you get, yeah, see, it's like right freaking there. Okay, cool. So there actually is something up there then. So that's probably literally where you want to short the stock market. Yeah, short it right fucking there. The probability would have to be there for these guys to continue higher. It would have to be there. I'd be really shocked if they decided to crash the tape before actually going in. Yeah, I'd be pretty relatively shocked. Keep an eye out for put spikes. That's another thing that I would watch too. Just keep an eye for those put spikes, guys. Really, everybody short calls up here. Short put, one massive put. Let's see, SPY. How high would that be on SPY? It's like 744. Yeah, okay. So, like I said, I think there's only still one level to like really play the short, which is 93. At least that's where I would do it. You know, just like I said, I'm just judging it by data. You know. Yeah, because like I wouldn't be a bear just yet. Oh shit, that was an interesting reaction. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? It's almost like there's still a lot of very bullish charm, but this is very likely news that just dropped here. Wow, if this really gets going, gotta be very cautious. Be very cautious being short too soon. Iran won't recognize visa plans. Interesting. I bet you a lot of money, guys, that everybody's selling and dumping shit into this. If that's news related, let the market come back down and see if we can actually get a buy. I'm telling you, like, Ponzi, you want to be very patient, guys. Like, this is extremely bullish. Don't go against the data. The data says you can still keep going. And, like, the data is also even too supporting the idea that, like, for now, this level is a support spot on the day because of the short squeeze blow through that the market did. So, for now, in some relative retrospective way, let me actually see. Maybe there's something on the top 25 levels. Not really. No, I wouldn't really look at this and say there's something here. I would say it's probably right here. That's where I would be. Because, like, that's obviously where this whale is. This whale obviously was buying in, cost a short squeeze. And if these guys are giving stupid news, how many futures for that? 6,000. I get it. There's bears. They want to crash the market, but I think they need somebody really big on their side to do it. That's my best gut feeling here is we'll continue to drift and then it'll stop about 20 more points. So that's technically a 30-point drift. So how many points? So it's about 10 points down. So you go down 10, then you get 30. It's pretty good. It's like $7 to 25 in the money. It's pretty good. All right, I'll be right back. I'm just gonna get some water. Just gotta think a little bit. Man, my house wasn't. Hold on, guys. I think it's trash day. I'm gonna go take out the trash real quick. Alright, I'm back. What do we got, geese? Let's see. I was just kind of thinking when I was taking out the trash a little bit, just kind of thinking about the probabilities and stuff of trading. You know, there's a reason why this game is all about probabilities, and especially on the 0-day market too, because I've always kind of found that trading in the second half of the day is significantly easier than trading in the first half. It's extremely true. God, I just wish so badly that, like, I guess that's a good question. How many points higher do you think you could actually get if big giant buyers were like, fuck, we're just going to buy? How many points are we up on the day? We only have 23 points. What about QQQ? Wow, QQQ is way fucking down. My god. Tech was 694 yesterday. Full. Tech basically fell almost the equivalency of 300 points on the S&P 500. That's crazy, bro. That's pretty crazy. And Tech being down that much is pretty violently wild. Look at this on the daily. Technology's just been getting slaughtered. And then SPY and the Dow Jones are still holding up. I think eventually the SPY rotation will meet its end as well, too. Golly, QQQ. It's tough to be a bear just yet. Man, sometimes I wonder. There's just so much bearish hedging right now in this market. Like, so much to the point where I'm almost just like, all we would literally need to do. Do the math here on something. Hold on. Okay. Let's say you got in for... Look at this. Like, literally right at the peak. Interesting. 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 Now the charm is really fucking bullish. Damn. This will be kind of interesting to see how the closing bell kind of goes for today, guys. Let's see, is there any crazy batshit news? Let's see. Tomorrow's going to be a crazy day. It's true. Trump downplays Zelensky. Let me look at this intraday positioning. think this would be pretty interesting. Wow, look at the charm. It's exquisitely bullish. Good lord. Oh, hello, Grand Admiral Grey Goose. Whoa, that looks good. Unfortunately, Grey Goose, this is unavailable. Actually, technically it is available, but this is for something completely different. This is for an investor, Nasdaq whale guy that's in the group. Something a little bit different. I feel like this will kind of be interesting. I'd say, honestly, you know what? If you needed an idea, I'd say fuck it. Hit calls at, the 30 spot. See if there's any put spikes. Honestly, because Charm is so damn bullish, I'd say hit calls if they hit 74.30 ES. I'm sorry. Sorry, SPX. Because, just look at that Charm. It's pretty bullish. It's going to be a tough one to shake to the sell side. It'll be a pretty tough one. Probably just need giant put spikes with maybe some belugas. See, where did the belugas come in? Let's see. Smaller players. He's right here at 61. So they're basically at 61.5. Gotcha. Alright, and then what about these guys over here? These guys are at 61.75. I feel like that would be the only side that would make any sense. A really cool trading idea would be, I would be a bear too if I didn't see it. I would do a look, that AI click is bad, yes. I feel like the real move here more than anything is, like I said, it's probably to buy calls, get the market to literally explode higher, take 30 points off the table, and then literally from there, just like, all right, cool, After you take 30 points off the table, at that point, literally just, let me think. Yeah, after you take 30 points off the table, look for puts at closing bell. Like, literally, keep it super simple. Don't make it complex. Now, there's definitely some bears up here that are trying to keep the market from going. We don't want it to go up there too much. I bet it would be a pump and dump then. 74.60 right back to 74.50 at closing bell. So hit calls, go for 30 points, and then say, fuck it, I'm done. That's what I would do. Carnival Hunt. Oh, that's right. I heard about that game. Carnival Hunt. Oh, man. further down. Pretty obvious in my opinion. Yeah, it's pretty obvious, man. Yeah, like I said, we're stuck in a zero DT regime for right now. So like anybody that doesn't understand that will literally just keep sitting here saying, keep shorting, keep shorting, keep shorting. But literally, as you can see, if you keep trying to get short up here, you're literally going to just get annihilated. That's because all the positioning just points to the upside. So yes, I think being a bear is exactly the right way to move right now. But doesn't mean exactly right here, right now. What it more so likely means is closing bell more than anything, because you need these positions to go away. That's kind of the problem. What the heck? So I'm just chill for now. Just be patient, geese. Be patient. It's impressive. I say patience, geese. Patience, patience, patience. Yes, they are absolutely loading up to go short. But remember, I think what this move really is it's just psyching in more bears. Because, like, think about it psychologically, right? If they were really bearish, don't you think the day would have probably capitulated at this point? Right? Like, remember, just think about basic price action dynamic 101, right? Price basically is a result from literally whatever the market psychology is, right? Whether it's going up or going down. So, to some degree, if they are indeed selling here, there's actually nothing wrong with seeing this sell right now. There's actually nothing wrong with it at all. It's actually very normal because it just means, hey, these guys are actually trying to be theirs. But remember, as these positions on the 0DT market, literally the options that are getting ready to expire today in about 2 hours, as that clock just keeps ticking more and more and more. So literally, what was I literally telling you guys? Like not even an hour ago. Didn't I literally tell you guys this is actually better for bears to keep the market going nowhere like this and actually trying to suck people in, thinking that it is a pullback? Because then in reality, the more likely outcome move here because of charm, right? Charm and gamma, huge things, right? Because of charm positioning is in reality, if we actually pulled back, if we pull back to here, maybe 74.64, this long call could potentially trigger a massive rush to go here into this area. It could. It could literally trigger a massive negative gamma explosion up here, right? Because that's what it's done earlier in the day. Now, I'm not saying that this will happen. I'm just saying, well, you have charm saying go for it, and then you also have gamma saying go for it too. So really, what is all of this chop? Well, if you actually look at the sheer raw positioning, somebody's got a very big hedged short position here on all the gamma that's across the board. So somebody is absolutely a bear. I think we 100% know this. But remember, it's not necessarily if people are bears or if people are bulls. What are they holding today? Because that gamma is massively, massively, massively more intense than like a 7-day or a 14-day or a 20-day or even a Friday contract like today. So if you're really looking for like a really solid setup of a trade, it's probably best in terms of like a probability outcome to sit there and say, okay, I think it'll be better if you short it up here rather than fucking I'm just going to get short here. I think bears are absolutely here. I think they really 100,000% want to tank the markets. I think they want to crash the system. I think that's what we're going to see tomorrow. I think tomorrow is probably very likely going to be a bloodbath to the downside. I don't see how this market could honestly lift itself up anymore, especially after this. Now, what is really interesting is kind of this sort of sense of the return to the mean idea. The return to the mean is, if you're just kind of looking at futures, so let me just look at like a 2-day. So literally yesterday, pre-market guys, ES futures are trading basically 75.14 before this massacre blow up that they had within the first 45 minutes to an hour of trading. It was a pretty big sell, right? We're talking, 75.13 down to as low as about 74.23, almost 100 points, right? It's pretty big. So, returning the market back to that state up there a little bit into FOMC, it's a very normalized move, but it just helps the bears sell even more. That's all it really kind of does. So it's almost like, imagine this. Imagine if you knew that the market wanted to crash, but you know it on a very specific time frame. So you know that markets are very likely in trouble, but you just can't quite put your finger on it exactly when they're going to be in trouble, if that kind of makes any sense, right? That's kind of the interesting beauty about when it comes to day trading, is you know that there's very likely going to be a sell. You just don't know exactly when. So that's kind of the fun part about this, guys, is just sort of like dancing around in that sense, in some funny sense of a way, and being like, okay, now do the trade, right? Or whatever. Anyways, just food for thought. Nothing super crazy. Nothing super insane. A little bit of some traders here. $2.2 million put spike coming in around here a little bit as well, too. Let's see. Especially as we're like right to that level on SPX. What do they now do from here is like obviously the $1 million question. 2.5 million versus 1.8 million. It's a decent put spike for honestly what it's worth, but the level is about 61. Anyways, that one put spike can absolutely rally this back, in all honesty. But it's not massively large. I would say if we got a really big put spike and then like right at the level, then I would say, okay, let's see what markets are maybe potentially willing to show, right? Maybe they're willing to show something really interesting or not. I don't know. Yeah, so if I was buying, let's see, honestly at here is likely where I would buy into calls down here. If maybe the market can give a violent charm drift to higher prices on the day, etc. This is kind of where I would sit there and say, okay, let's see what futures are like maybe willing to show. Maybe. I don't even know if they're actually going to be willing to do it, guys. It's kind of the bigger thing here, like what if these guys just start capitulating, be kind of violent, if you ask me. I really just want to take the play, but up here at 74.60. I feel like 74.93 is kind of like the spot where I'd say, yes, do it now, versus what we're seeing right at this exact moment. That's just me, though, geese, Just old man hoping and praying. I'm hoping that we get that higher price. That way we can actually get short, because I feel like that would make the most amount of sense. I don't know. It's just from looking at charm, though. Like I said, I'm just looking at the charm positioning, and I'm like, okay. So charm being, like, extremely bullish is tough to deal with in some sense. So what will happen? I don't know. I'd like to take it up here if the market's willing to give that, but this is maybe where I'd be like, can it go any lower, or are they just going to start aggressively buying it back? Anyways, I guess we'll just have to see exactly what markets end up doing here, especially into the later part of today and whatnot. We'll just have to go and kind of see. But this is interesting. You know, some put spikes down in this zone right here and bullish charm. You know, it's a tough combination to become a bear on. At least that's what I would think. But if the market honestly says go fuck yourself, then there you go as well too, you know? Anyways, I would just recommend chilling and just kind of waiting to see whatever this day kind of does, maybe in an hour from now or something, you know? Because at this point, I don't really have much other than just we're in bullish charm with a $3 million put spike. You know, what happens into the closing bell today? You know, will they buy it? Will they sell it? Will they give us our spot up there to then short massively into tomorrow? I'm really, really, really hopeful that that's what they honestly just end up doing. How is technology faring in all of this right now? Is technology doing like really bad? I feel like tech is just actually having a decent day today. Yeah, see, tech is doing okay for right now. Oh, nice. That's pretty good. Yeah, see, that's what I was saying. Like, that's kind of where I would be a buyer because of the charm positioning. And then, you know, just have to, I guess, figure out whatever the hell happens from there. You know, see if they actually go and send this higher or not. You know, it's completely up to them. Anyways, I only want to really take this, guys, if the market really just kind of moves its way up there. I don't feel like anything around here is worth really kind of setting yourself up for. Very nice. Very nice win on call options on the 0DTs there. Very nice win on call options. Why are you spamming a puts Ponzi? What the hell? What are you doing? But that was kind of a really cool example, guys, of seeing the data live and kind of getting like a really, really nice 0DT trade there. So you kind of get like the nice put spike right on the level, and then you just get like a nice explosion straight back up of like a decent amount of points. I know one thing's for sure for old man Nug. I made some decent cash on that. Finally. So now the day becomes victorious for Nug. Nice. I still want this level up here. I feel like this is the only spot to actually short. Damn bastards. I don't know if they'll actually give it to us, though. Maybe we'll get it, maybe we won't. I don't know. Nice so far, though. Now I'm finally green on the day. This is being down 27 bucks. Lousy bucks. That's pretty funny. I still want higher prices. I still think that overall, it's either short the closing bell or short it now. If I had to choose, I would definitely not want to be shorting now. I would be wanting to short the closing bell. I think that this will still have a lot of pressure to buy. But make no mistakes, guys. There's still a lot of bears out there, just kind of clawing the trees a little bit. There's still definitely some big bears out there, for sure. Wow. I never actually realized this, but 0DTs can just print massively. It's very helpful if you can take a really good 0DT trade, and I mean very helpful, because then you feel really good. You're like, wow, I made a really good trade. It's like an instant win, too. Golly, that's pretty good. There's something I'm looking for here. Hold on. Yeah, I definitely think, like I said, I think bears are still clawing. So, like, I'm shorting at closing bell. I feel like that is a trade that I'm absolutely going to get into no matter what. I feel like at closing bell, yes, I'm 100% going to sit there and say, fuck it, go short, you know? Yeah, I feel like this shit is just going to tank. It's just going to fucking tank tomorrow. Where the hell is it? Fucking shit is over here somewhere. I had it somewhere. I don't know. Looking for this stupid bear thing, because I feel like this is like a great representation of bears. Especially into tomorrow. Aha! Found it. There it is. Bears for tomorrow. I feel like they will absolutely start scratching that post. There it is. I found it. Alright, but anyways. Yeah, you know, guys, just look at all the positioning, right? Negative gamma, massive bullish charm. You know what I mean? Just massive, massive, massive pressure to buy on the intraday stuff, right? Like, this is not going to be fun if you're a bear for right now. I do think that we can still go another 30 points. I really do. I feel like the markets are not done yet. I feel like they're not done yet. Where the hell would they buy it from, though? Oh, there is 61, technically, but... No, with this charm, it should only be literally a matter of time before they start really rallying this back. What is this?
What the fuck is going on here?
Rajiv. Rajiv. The NQ is where volatility is. Yeah, technology is the big problem right now. The technology, the techno union army, we is at your disposal, count. Yeah, technology is a big problem, for sure. I think tech is like the main fucking reason why the market is just in such a big bloodbath right now. It's true. You know, I feel like there is a significantly crazy ass pressure to just keep literally destroying this market every other fucking day. And like, eventually we'll come out of this. Like, make no mistake, guys. Eventually the market will be like, all right, like, you know, let's come out of this shit now. You know, like, we can come out of this, you know, and eventually, great, cool, you know? I bet it still goes and pays. Anyways, for right now, like I said, there's only really one level that I really want to play heavily. It's just up here. You know, I'm like, come on, you can do it. Move that ass up there. Move it. Like, you can do it. But Charm intraday, this is interesting, right? This gigantic 7410 Beluga. That guy's pretty big, I think. But I think especially as the market's in this area, I would definitely be a little cautious on being a bear to some degree. Not entirely, like I said. I definitely think that you want to short tomorrow, for sure. I think tomorrow the market's going to just literally sit there and capitulate. But, oh, I didn't tell you guys what happened to me earlier this morning. For those that are listening on YouTube, literally, I went to buy calls. Let me show you. I literally went to fucking buy calls. How do I upload a picture to the chat in fucking YouTube? I literally went to take calls at opening bell. And, like, look at this fucking shit. Look at this stupid fucking shit. I tried to literally buy 0DT calls, and I'm not kidding, right fucking here at 7417, because the God mode, right? I was looking at God mode, and I was like, I'm literally trying to get calls right here. I sent 6 fucking market orders in on IBKR. 6! And nothing filled. And I was like, you gotta be fucking shitting me. And then I get a bulletin message from them, and they're like, oh yeah, I mean, you're chilling, you're doing pretty good, it ain't nothing to worry about. Like, SIBO's now fixed. And I'm just like, huh? It was just nuts. But anyways, I still like this as a buy. I feel like the market's absolutely gonna rock it up. Like I said, charm, charm, charm. Charm is just the decay of delta. So it's the probabilities of playing the markets, right? It's basically saying, hey, every 5 minutes, market makers have to buy, probably at this moment, every 5 minutes, market makers have to buy probably about 1 to 200 ES futures, would be my best guess. That's pretty solid demand in terms of like getting a structural mechanical move to take place in the underlying. That's a very, very, very solid play because it just basically says, hey, the market itself is very likely going to just drift to the upside. That's how you get like those massive explosions, those end of day rallies. You get it from Charm, guys. And Charm is basically giving that trade right now. It's giving the heads up. I think this is where Closing Bell is going to be very interesting as well too, though, because like Closing Bell is like, all right, what do we do to Closing Bell? You know, God, I feel like tomorrow's going to be such a crazy wild day too. When it gets below SPY, when it gets below SPY 640. Oh, Ponzi. Relax, Ponzi. That'll probably happen tomorrow, my friend. Honestly, if it happens today, I'm not kidding. I'd be really surprised. Not necessarily going below 740, but like capitulating back down. I'd be relatively surprised. I'd be like, damn, these guys are really killing the markets. Because, like I said, I've had that happen a lot lately. Oh, you're talking about Charm, like those end of the day buybacks? Yeah, it's basically because of Charm in the 0DT positioning. It's a combination of Gamma and Charm, but at the end of the day, Charm literally just takes the fuck over. There is a problem though, because technically I've only tested this thesis of Charm with the updating Charm. I've yet to actually look at the projected 920 Charm because technically, if you're still going off of what these insiders are doing, technically the 920 AM Charm is now basically going to crash the market, which is, well, I guess we'll have to use this as a good day of like actual testing. I don't think that's what it is. I think what it is they're setting these positions up like this pre-market to give us actual trades that like really have a fundamental backbone on them. And then they trade the intraday positions to shape the heat maps in a way that's favorable to these positions. I think that's the scam that's going on with day trading. That's my best guess. Is what these fuckers are actually doing is they are literally just scamming the shit out of everybody. They're literally just like, nope, whatever we are actually going to do is we are going to move the markets through intraday data, but we are going to still hold our dominant pre-market data because this is what we're actually holding. I'm telling you guys, that's very fucking likely what it is. And like I said, this is a very dangerous area to be a bear in. You just have to be very patient. It doesn't mean that these trades work instantly. It just means that, as you guys can see, it's a game of probabilities. It's not a game of like, oh, well, I want to be a bear because the Pons indicator says to be a bear. Or I want to be a bull because the Nug indicator says to be a bull. Like, no, it's just you will dramatically increase your probabilities of success by utilizing correct data. And if you kind of just look at it and say, okay, well, Charm is saying this, so does the market want to buy or does the market want to sell? So who's actually selling? Oh, the market doesn't want to sell, the market actually wants to buy, right? And just back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And just like I said, play the data that's in front of you. You don't have to be a baby back bitch to play this data. You can be very solid. You just have to be patient. Like I said, just be patient in this area. I think the markets will go. They will absolutely short squeeze. The charm is basically giving you the thumbs up. The charm is telling you you are good. So that, as a probability basis, is enough, even for me. So anybody that's fading against this area would be like, man, fuck this shit. It don't make no sense. But it's like, time out. Do you know how to trade? Do you know what this data is actually suggesting? Like, do you have any relative idea of what this shit is actually telling people right now that are trading SPX? This is literally telling you that market makers are so exposed on their decay here that they literally have to buy like fucking crazy. So yeah, see, there you go, learner. So now you're actually starting to put two and two together. If you took calls in this area, learner, you're massively winning. Never fucking play the price action. For God's sake, stop trading price action. It doesn't fucking work. What I mean by that is when you start seeing green candles go in your favor, do not fucking take a trade. You need to get in, especially if you want to be literally perfect on these trades. You need to get in on these levels, and especially with the God mode players. You literally have to play the levels. That's just to get your literal, really good, best positional fill. Does that make sense? I'm not saying that you can't look at a candle and say it's an engulfing this or it's a inverted hammer that or whatever these things. I'm saying if you want to really be perfect on this game, there's a multitude of things that are derived from index positioning that will dramatically help you succeed intensely. You will go and make a lot more money being a day trader in this game when you just trade these key levels and you just wait and you just wait and you just wait. Because, oh yeah, there's definitely still some bears that are out there. There's absolutely bears that are still sitting there right now. But the reality is the charm is so bullish, it's pretty difficult to sell against this kind of positioning. But tomorrow, though, is when the market really goes and rides. Tomorrow is when the market... Fuck, charm could save the dumb. Fuck, charm could save the dumb. Well, what the fuck, Ponzi? We knew this 12 minutes ago. We knew this 15 minutes ago. See, but this is the problem with most day traders. They look at price and they look at price action and say, well, it should be bearish because it's going down, but then they start seeing moves like this afterwards, and it's like, oh, fuck, I guess it can now save it. It's always been there. It's always been there. It hasn't changed, Ponzi. It hasn't changed. And there's no saving anything. You have to understand, this is an extremely bearish market setup going into tomorrow. Nothing is going to be saved other than just the intraday. So if you're trading zeros, you're literally just printing. I literally got a $9 call, sold it for $13.50. Like, it's printing, right? But that doesn't mean that tomorrow the market doesn't give you the Armageddon day. Oh, best believe tomorrow could be Armageddon. And they are literally setting it up really well right now. Best believe that Armageddon is setting up. I mean, I'm telling you, that 0DT position right here, and it goes really well with charm. Woo, that dog, man. That's definitely the level. Let me tell you. The positioning is literally telling us. Look how important those levels in terms of positioning on index lines, though. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And, like, dude, the Ponzi, don't you... Ponzi, what the fuck is all... The fuck is that? Shit! I'm tired of this country-ass fucked up town. Shit flying in my mouth. I can't breathe. Pollen. Let's get the fuck out of this motherfucking town. The fuck is that? Ponzi trading rig. Let's see if I can find that shit. The fuck is that? Let me see, where is it? What really happened? What really happened that Thursday? Wait.
We'll do a story about what? As you can see, there's construction underway here. They've dug out a little bit. There's water that's accumulated. Traffic's backed up. In a city the size of Houston, there's always traffic. So what's the big fucking deal? What the fuck are we doing out here? I ask you. What in the fuck are we doing here?
What in the fuck are we doing here, Rajiv? That's what I'm saying. What in the fuck are we doing out here, Rajiv? What in the fuck are we doing here? What in the fuck are we doing out here? And then, Rajiv.
What really happened on that Thursday here at Augusta High?
What really happened that Tuesday here at the Spyglass trading group that led to Chris Rajiv's death? The fuck is that? Oh, man, I love that video so
School
much.
that led to Chris Wood's death. The fuck is that?
The fuck is that? Yeah.
I'm dying in this fucking country ass fucked up town.
Fucked up town.
Shit flying in my mouth. The fuck? I can't see pollen. And let's get the fuck out of this country.
Sellers flying left and right. The fuck? I can't see. Buyers. Let's get the fuck out of this motherfucking market while we still can, Rajiv. Yeah, but anyways, guys, remember, charm is not instantaneous, right? Sometimes charm just takes a little bit of time to kind of charm and lure the ladies in, as I like to say. But no, the problem with charm that a lot of people don't actually understand is charm is extremely potent towards the end of the day, especially the last hour and a half of trading. Last 2 hours, you definitely want to start paying attention to it. For sure. There's definitely some days, too, where charm absolutely leads the way. Absolutely. That's the whole thing about day trading. Day trading is literally all about percentage return and getting the direction right. So there's plenty of days where charm is actually correct pretty much all day. It does happen for sure. I bet tomorrow's going to be a massive blowout. I'm not kidding. I'd be willing to bet so much money that tomorrow's going to be a massive blowout in the stock market. Like, there's just no fucking way that this market tomorrow is going to go and be like, I fuck you, motherfucker. I fuck you, Rajiv. I fuck you, motherfucker, Rajiv. You and your fucking cunts over there, mate. Yeah, Rajiv. I'm talking to you, Rajiv. But that's the problem, like I said, with charm. Charm is that passive drift, right? So it doesn't mean that the market's going to sit here and tap 74.30 and then immediately go, whew, slingshot 30 fucking points to the moon. Charm can do that, indeed, but it doesn't always do that. Because remember, it's all about probabilities. Imagine if you're looking at the market in this area. I always think of it like this, guys, when it comes to trading Charm and Gamma. Think of it like this. It's the same question that Rajiv always asks his people. If you were tied to a chair by Rajiv, because Rajiv ties down a lot of people to his chairs in his basement. If you're tied down to a chair by Rajiv in a basement, and he's got a Cajontis Whimper, so it's literally going to go underneath the chair just like in 007, and it's going to completely castrate the nuts. If you had to choose, and Rajiv's like, he's forcing you into a trade. If you're forced into a position at any given moment during market trading, are you taking calls or are you taking puts? That's the way that I view this index data, is if you're forced to play right now, what is your position? If you're forced into a trade. That's the way that I think it works, and that's the way that it 100% goes. And, yeah, it's pretty interesting, isn't it? Like, if you're forced into a trade, just think of it like that. If you're forced to take something right now, doesn't mean you have to take something right now. It just means if you were forced in right now, what would you be trading? I'll tell you what I'd be doing. I'd be doing calls. Now, we've already rallied a lot. So I'm not sitting here saying I expect 30 points. I want 30 points because then that gives me a clearance to short, especially by cheapening up the put options. It would soften up the puts in a really big way. Will we get it? Will we not? I don't fucking know. I think that obviously there's clearly hedging around 74.50. I think these guys are a bunch of baby back bitches for doing that shit, by the way. I would actually almost argue potentially that the market should actually go from here to 74.60, so that way that looks much better, but that's just my opinion. I think on a day like today, what's I gonna say? I think IBKR fucked me, because this would now be 2 trades for me on the day. Rajiv, did I tell you about that? Where the fuck is Rajiv? Why the hell is he not talking? He's literally in the voice chat, but he's literally not saying anything. Where the F is Rajiv, man? Why the hell is he not saying anything? What did you say about that? There he is. Rajiv, did I tell you that about today, dude? I literally tried to buy calls at market at the very exact bottom tick, and IBKR, I routed the order in 6 times via market orders, and I didn't get 1 single fill. Isn't that kind of crazy? 6 fucking times sending in a market order. I was furiously upset with the market. I was really upset. I was just like, I give up. Like, I was so mad. It was literally like right fucking here. I'm not kidding. Ugh, that was infuriating this morning. Zero days are tricky, aren't they? Very tricky. Very, very, very tricky to play zeros because your timing has to be perfectly immaculate. I think there's absolutely buyers in this area, and I think they absolutely know what they want. When does Charm actually really, really, really come alive? Let me ask one of the command prompts here with Claude. Hold on. Claude, how's that even possible? Line 13. No, let me show you, dude. I'm not kidding. Like, do you want to see this stupid shit? I've literally sent like 6 different orders trying to get in for call options. I'm not even kidding. Look at this. Look at this. I sent in like fucking 6 fucking orders. Snap to market, like you fucking name it. And I couldn't get a single fill on any of them. Bro, isn't that wild, man? Not a single fill. And all of these calls were going for like $12. And guess what? As of now, they're like 28, 19, 24. They were a high of like 30 something. I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. I was so mad this morning, dude. No, dude, all the geese heard me. I was so mad. I literally was like swearing up a storm and everything. I have to ask you a hold on. I want to ask Claude something. I have to ask you a quick question here. When exactly does Charm decay? Just to kind of get the reinforcement. Like almost down to the exact time. Really start to come alive. That's what I would say. Where's a bitch? I've had that happen a lot lately. Just asking Claude here, because from what I can remember, it's the last hour and a half of the day. I just know that it, like, Charm is like, it's like a mystical dragon sometimes. Sometimes it's like really perfect, but then sometimes it's like, we'll give you a little something, but then we're just gonna keep trying to sell. And like I said, that's totally fine. Because look, the positioning is here for it, right? The 0DTs are extremely set up in a way, like I was kind of telling you earlier, where this technically all becomes bearish charm. All of this positioning down to about here, technically, right? This charm heat map is the intraday charm. So this is the heat map coming from positions that are updating live over here. If you want to look at the 9:20 a.m. projection, which, by the way, I'm live, you crazy bitch. If you want to look at the intraday projection, this is actually the intraday projection of charm. So technically, you know what's actually really crazy about this? We actually are pretty much holding an intraday 9:20 a.m. projection of where the market should be selling from. That's actually kind of cool because it really makes me wonder now, like, is it intraday? Because we've only had this, like, what? I've had this theory for like 6 days now. Let me actually, I'm going to post this on Twitter. Here's a cool look of the 9:20 a.m. projection of charm for the day on SPX. You can see that from conspiracy, let me tell you. Because this is what I'm actually trying to prove is like, okay, if this is the intraday charm, I'm sorry, not the intraday charm. Wait, what the hell, Claude? And I can answer with the action almost for your own ninja rather than textbook handwriting. Let me check what I can compute against. Well, you better get it done, Claude, you crazy bitch. Candles, story, epic, and I have timestamps. Oh, it's going to look through it all. So that's what I really kind of want to just kind of get a quick refreshment on. Charm. A really interesting fucking thing. So that's the 9:20 projection. This is the live actual feed of intraday on the day. It's a good theory, you know? It really fucking is. It's a very solid theory because it's almost like, well, what are they actually doing to manipulate markets? Do they care about intraday trading? Or do they only care about the pre-market trading? And the reason why pre-market is so important, guys, let me once again kind of explain this because Rajiv is a little retarded. Especially after, you know, that whole mess with him and that one guy, you know, he had him over to his house and, you know, after doing him, he was just like, all right, he got a hit on the head. It's a big mess. I'll kind of explain this very slow for Rajiv in particular. But the reason why this is very fascinating, especially from a gamma and a charm position, Rajiv. Actually, hold on real quick. I want to actually see real quick here what the 9:20 projection is. Interesting. So this is the 9:20 projection of charm and gamma. Guys, we can get a big move down. Hold on, Bonzi. You must pick a side. You can't say charm may save us, and then now it's back to getting a big move down. You must decide, Bonzi. You must decide. Remember, just play the levels, man. Try to not overcomplicate it. You'll get killed going back and forth. I don't know if that's how you're trading, but don't do that if you're trading. Anyhow, so my theory here, Rajiv, you crazy bitch, is if they don't actually give a shit about the intraday updates, if they literally could care so much fucking less about them, then this market's going to collapse into the closing bell. It is going to straight up dive bomb because all this positioning is a massive bearish unwind. Now, on the contrary, as old man Doug would say, if they do care about the intraday updates, then this positioning right now is about to explode the markets higher into the closing bell. And I mean, like, explode this shit. Hell, we'll probably see fucking something like plus 30 into the close. I'm asking Claude here, though, like, the exact timestamp whenever it gets to be, like, really fucking huge. To see, the short answer, 12:45 Eastern is the first real inflection. So 12:45 is when charm starts to really kind of pick up just a little bit. Interesting. Let me see. And then 1422, charm scales as 1 divided by t. Yeah, this is obvious, and it doubles every time the remaining halves. So at 1422, so we're literally coming up on the first. Oh, interesting. Yeah, so I was right. It's about 1.5 hours till close. Yeah, wow. Okay, so that's a very logarithmic scale of how impactful charm is literally fucking this market over. So I'd say if it's truly the intraday stuff, in about right now to maybe 10 minutes, you are about to really see the markets explode much higher into the closing bell. Like, that charm shit is gonna really pick up. But this is a good day to also test because tomorrow's so big, you know? Gross forced hedging by hour. So they have to do 44% of the entire day's charm-driven hedging happens in the final hour. Okay, gotcha. So that's probably a better statistical number. So you probably want to only really start looking at charm in the last... let me see why it pins the funnel. This is good to know in terms of like exact time slots. That's good. It's good to know. It doesn't just get bigger, it gets narrow. The band flipping 90% of charm, 55 the catch. Your chart starts tracking this. The 2-hour floor that caps charms blow up. It binds from exactly this precise when charms doesn't matter. From the other heat map shows a frozen number. I can lift it to a 1-hour floor, which is what your morning projection build already uses. Moving it entirely is no bad. Sure. Wait. Are there any God mode players? And that's the other thing too, guys. God mode, the reason why God mode is so powerful too, is I'll kind of get back into this a little bit. So the reason why God mode is so powerful is because it literally tells you exactly when gigantic players are actually playing. So it will basically, I forgot to do something on the website. Ah, damn it, give me 1 second. I'm accidentally hiding a page. Give me 1 second. I have to fix something here real quick. Damn you, Rajiv. I blame you for everything. Why does Rajiv always do this? You know, Rajiv, to this day, I still look back and I honestly am very curious how the hell I turned 1,000 into 95,000. And honest to God, bro, I think I literally did it through just looking at Charm and Gamma, especially towards the end of the day. Like, there was a point where I was literally just selling options like crazy. And then I started realizing, like, okay, once I got to like 30,000, I was like, oh shit. There it is. I'm not kidding. Like, I think it was literally just from that. Still, Rajiv, you crazy bitch. Let's see if this is actually working. There it is. Yeah, cool. Alright, now that that's fixed. Alright. What was I saying? So, yeah, no, I look at a situation like right now and I'm like, okay, so Charm, hold on. Stop, I scared you with bad wording and I'm sorry, nothing is broken. The suspect is my test being naive, not your math. Look at the worst case. My math better not be wrong about this Charm, Claude. I'm about to go ape shit on you if my math was wrong. I mean, because look, being a quote-unquote quant, honestly, it's just literally a stupid title. Unless if I was working at Goldman. If I was a fucking Goldman quant, holy crap, Rajiv. Dude, I would literally flaunt that title everywhere I went. I'd be like, yeah, I'm a quant at Goldman Sachs. Literally base salary, $500,000 to start, bonuses of up to $2 million per year. That's insane. But I did build models for that one hedge fund. So technically, yeah, that does make Old Man Nog a quantifiable goose. And then I am building this for the NASDAQ well, so that does make me a quant. But all that the word quant really is you just have models of things. It's like Fibonacci testing. Technically, you can be a quant and be a Fibonacci tester. But the problem with fibs is you have to be able to prove a mathematical formula that there's a standardized pattern that shows up every time that certain conditions and criteria are being met. So there's probably plenty of quants that do TA and stuff, but you have to just be able to code in something that mathematically you can prove and that it's not a random coincidence, because markets are very random to a certain degree. They're very random except when you start trading around these very levels. Let me see. The 2-hour floor is not a bug. It's a deliberate cap. It's written into your code on purpose. Oh, why? Out of the 0 DTR method, it goes to infinity. The heat map should be screaming one red block. Useless. Someone capped it correctly. About damn time, Jeb. Oh, Lieutenant. At ease.
Oh no, I'm at the cigar lounge with my buddies like at airport stuff.
You took a day off of trading to smoke a cigar?
I am celebrating.
You bastard! You're supposed to do this in the after hours. What you gonna call that bullshit, anyways? Man, Jeb, if you seen this shit, man, you're missing a good day today. It's a good day. It's a great day. It's probably one of the best days in a while, Jeb. Let me tell you.
What's it look like Buffalo West? Like that good or?
Pretty good. Not too bad, pretty decent. Not too terrible of a day. Not too terrible.
How's the timing tool, like the liquidity tool?
It's pretty good. I mean, honestly, man, I was kind of telling the geese a little bit earlier today. We were kind of talking about it. It's just the God mode. I think waiting for God mode at these levels is literally the answer because, like, right now, let's see, because, dude, oh, Jeb, bro, let me tell you, I totally forgot, dude. Oh my gosh, dude, you should have been here this morning with me for pre-market trading. Oh, what the hell? You're actually in Germany. What the hell? Look at the buildings. Look at the architecture. No, dude, I fucking was trying to put in like 50 0DT calls to buy at the bottom today for like literally $12. It would have cost me something like 50K. Dude, it was literally a God mode play. I was like, okay, at this level, I'm going to buy because I want to be a call buyer. Instantly, within like 3 minutes, those calls that I wanted for $12 were like $21 of the money. And well, hold on, no. IBKR, they didn't fill any of my market orders when I sent them in. I sent in 6 market orders over and over for like fucking, whatever it was. And then 20 minutes later, they send a bulletin out and they're like, SIBO is no longer broken. You can now day trade SIBO, which is literally SPX. And I was like, dude, if I literally just put an order in to buy like 500 spies 0 days, woo. Dude, look at the market today. Look at the market. You want to know where my level was?
I'm about to hit exit.
Just look at my phone. Hold on. 74.17. 74.17 futures. You better look right now, boy.
I'll look in a second. But here's the thing. Anything on timing so we can time these entries?
Put spikes with God mode with the levels. That's the best that I've got.
That's not good enough.
Well, no. Put spikes with God mode. You need God mode. You need to see the belugas show up with the levels. That's literally it. That is literally the secret. That's the only secret for timing. I'm not kidding. Because literally belugas tell you exactly where they're playing. It's literally liquidity itself. And, like, I can't figure out anything else in terms of, like, especially with the God mode stuff, that literally even makes any sense.
We'll work on it, but, okay. Okay. I just want to... Dude, I want to make so much fucking money.
I know. Same. It was a pretty good day today.
Okay. I'm going to call you back later.
Alright, just call me back. And 400. You better hurry. Lieutenant.
And the end of the day trade.
Of course, make sure you're here for the last 5 minutes so we can take that crazy gamble. 0 DTs. Woo! Let it ride! I love those 0 DTs. Alright, see you, man. That would be Jebediah Geese. Jebediah is the other programmer that I have working on the front end of this program that you guys are seeing on the live stream. That would be Jebediah. Let's see here. Hold on. Your char modeling is correct. There's no error. Oh, so you're saying this is a color intensity thing? So, like, the modeling is correct, but you don't color it visually that hard. Just feeling a little bit better after today. Feeling a little bit better. The irony here is upon skater trading has no access to Opera options data. Rajiv, nobody has access to Opera options data unless if you're paying for that shit. You know what, Rajiv? That's it. Go to. Oh wait, no. Ooh, I almost went to Rajiv chat only while on the live stream. Give me 1 second, geese. All right, there we go, guys. Had to just tell Rajiv something real quick. You know how it is. I have to always just tell Rajiv something about reading one full page of a Harry Potter book. Oh man, this is just not looking pretty. It's not terrible. This is why day trading is such a crazy sport. Because the market goes off way easier than usual, Rajiv. I rank you, motherfucker. Yeah, no, it's true. Anyways, let's see here. Alright, so yes, your instincts are right. It's honestly, it's actually better than I made it sound. Let me show everyone to do one correction. It's not that we computed fully, then painted in. The number of steps computed with the clock held at 2 hours. So the value really is smaller. It's not a paint choice. But here's the part that matters. The floor number only ever reaches one place, the heat map. You have the floor number. You have two completely separate charm pipelines that I should have done this hour ago. Charm heat map. Our own engine floor, yes, capped at 2 hours. CX walls. I traced at the dealer positioning charm panel scores outcomes like this. The CX data wall, our engine, different pipelines. So playing the charm wall is unaffected. Sure, what you actually experience is just the map running to color reality late in the day. Sign, color, flip locations, corridor agents, all exact. Only brightness the last 2 hours is compressed. Which honestly is why nobody ever noticed. It was capped deliberately so the closed-window runners once saw its screaming block. And as the constant final hour looks calmer, there's nothing to fix, nothing's broken. Okay, thank you. Ugh, scared the shit out of me. Alright, yeah, because I was like, this better not be fucking wrong. I spent like literally months building this stupid shit. Rajiv Jed. Yeah, no, there's a reason that channel only belongs to Rajiv. There's a reason. There's a reason why Rajiv is only the one to be able to access that channel. I think what it is, guys, is with God mode enabled, I think, like I said, it literally tells you where these belugas are literally resting. Just because they haven't begun the rally back just yet doesn't actually mean that we still can't see a massive short squeeze into the closing bell. Be very careful, guys, right now. This market is devilishly setting itself up in a very unique way. I think one thing that you guys have got to understand, because my buddy Jebediah, he just kind of called me and he was like, "Did we talk about timing?" And I was like, the closest I've ever been to actually figuring out timing is yes, it is these levels indeed, but at the same time too, there's a deeper understanding here that kind of goes a little bit beyond the truth and reconciliation of what day trading actually really is. What I personally think it actually is, probably more than anything, like legitness wise, would probably be the belugas. So you can see that we're still hovering this level, 7430, right? Devilishly. We're still hovering this level. See, crazy bitch ass regime. We're still at 7430 SPX. So somebody big is definitely interested in keeping the markets here, for sure. Charm is so bullish that it's actually relatively surprising that the market hasn't started its buyback just yet. But what could that actually tell us? What that might actually be waiting to tell us right here, right now, is they want to buy it back. Maybe, like I said, maybe. But they can't just yet because nobody big on Wall Street has come in to initiate the buy. So, more than anything, what really ends up happening is this very large pin into this level. So, this just makes options significantly cheaper for purchase. It just makes them really cheap, right? As long as you're still very, very relatively close to 7430, this is still a very big, dangerous key level to watch out for if you're a bear. If you're a bear, you still have to be relatively careful here. I'm not saying that like this is it. I'm just saying what this does is this just makes 0 days phenomenally cheap. Guys, 10 points is not a hard accomplishment in this business to move the markets. Going 10 points from here. You can basically buy a $6 call option, and if this market jumps just 10 points back up to here because of the charm, sort of like wanting to go and like ideally say, hey, let's pin way up here, you're in a lot of trouble if you're a bear. Because that could literally spark the buyback at any given point in time. And I think that's really probably what the market's probably waiting on more than anything. That would be my best guess, is the market is probably waiting for that in particular to be like, okay, now do it, whenever they hit a beluga. Because there's a reason why these belugas do what they do, especially with the timing wise. Like, I would argue right now that because Charm is so bullish, if this is the intraday stuff, I think the intraday is really what it is. all it takes over here is for the market to maybe trade down here and then one big beluga, and then bam. That beluga is literally saying, all right, I will play 1300 ES futures in a very bullish charm. So I will buy futures or sell futures. You hitting the bottle again at noon? Yes, but still a deadly day to burn day. Right, but like I said, that's the whole thing with timing, Ponzi. That's the whole thing with timing. I'm not saying that bulls are going to take this, but what I am saying is the probability is definitely there. These market makers are in a passive drift to buy. All it literally takes is one 10-point move, and you're doubling an option. You're going from $6.50 to about 14 bucks. That's just 10 fucking points. Realistically, if you really look at this shit, dude, this fucking shit could literally go from like 64 to like 94. This could go 30 points. So timing here is crucial in terms of like really sitting there and saying, okay, when are these guys actually going to play? Because you really never actually know. They could do it 30 minutes till closing bell, an hour till closing bell, 10 minutes till closing bell, 5 minutes till closing bell. I mean, we've seen some crazy fucking plays before on this market. We've seen some crazy shit, guys. And what would the reality, how crazy interesting would that be if the entire market was just kind of like, okay, boom. You know, we go back down, we stay pinning at this level. See how the level's pinned? They're burning premium right now. There is a reason, guys, that the market is trading like this. They are burning the premium on things. Because look at this. I just watched a $6.40 call option go to $8.60 as of right now. It's $8.60, $8.70, $8.80 in the money. On just by barely going not even 5 points. Imagine if we move down and get a beluga. Then at that point, with all of this positional data that's here, now you've actually got a beluga willing to say, oh, you know what I mean? Now you actually potentially have something that could literally be a liquidity player saying, go now, do it now. And then boom, just causes a massive short squeeze. All these bears that are in this area just get completely wiped out. They get completely killed. The market goes and drifts to 74.50, which is about 20 points higher, give or take. It's like basically taking a $6 call option just recently and turning it pretty much from here to about 24 bucks. It's a 4x return on your trade. It is significantly impressive, geese. Significantly impressive. But I say patience. I'm not entirely convinced how they're going to do it. I just know that this is what the data probabilities say what can happen. Everything else is basically up to us. We have to basically figure out exactly when we think the trade will take place and occur. That's basically what our job here is. We're trying to figure that aspect out more than anything. Yeah, so I'm gonna go get some water. I shall return. And maybe a little bit of banana bread. Just for Rajeev's old time's sake. A little bit of banana bread. Throw a little bit of banana bread. Man, imagine making like 5x on a trade into the closing bell today. Like, boom. Imagine the perfect trade today. We're in this area. We see like a monster beluga trade like right at 74.64. And then just like wham, the market jumps up like 25 points into the closing bell from here. Like just go straight up 25 points. Make massive money. Rajiv. I'm gonna go gather some more banana bread in Rajiv's honor. In Rajiv's honor. He was weak and foolish, Rajiv, like his father. Imagine if we get a beluga. Woo, if we get a beluga. Alright, Rajiv, you crazy bitch. What do we got? What do we got, Rajiv? You talk to me, Rajiv. What do we got? What do we got? Oh, you want them? You want them? Why don't you go and get some, boy? What is going on? Okay, so apparently, this is kind of interesting. Apparently, Ponzi and what's his name? Apparently, Ponzi and Master Sergeant Evo are actually at each other's throats. Commander Rajiv, what is your thoughts? Anyway. These credit card bills are fucking massive. Oh my god. Yeah, no, is there a rule about arcing in the Discord? Well, yeah, we have like rules against a lot of different things. Hold on. Let me see here. Interesting. Nothing to fix, nothing is broken. All that Family live stream data. These credit card bills are really expensive. No. Day trading 1 day at a time. 1 day at a time. That's the best that you can do. Just 1 day at a time. Rajiv, did you know this motherfucker lives in 1 day at a time? No, it's kind of funny. What was I gonna say though? Rajiv, I am now. Actually, never mind. I don't want to tell you what I was going to tell you. I don't wish to tell you what I was going to tell you. No, because this is something I would hold close to the heart, or else I will kill. The heart, Rajiv. The heart boy. Rajiv, 45, Goodwill, Salvation Army. You banged a big girl. No, I did not. What if I told you I am now a St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital donor? But I didn't get my free t-shirt that they promised that I would get. Oh, I want that t-shirt, Rajiv. You log in. Who the hell's their login thing? Sounds like you're trying to cover your legal practices. I don't know you'd give a shit about them kids. Honestly, no, it's not a lot. Fuck. How the hell do I log in? Oh, here it is. Okay, here it is. Damn, hard to predict this side of shit. Well, Ponzi, I'm trying to tell you, crazy bitch. Market makers are literally buying everything. I understand that they want to sell, but you crazy bitch. But you have to be patient. You have to be patient. Be patient. The market went there to hide, not to sell. 202993. Write that code down, Rajiv. Thank you, Rajiv, for writing that code down for me. You must understand, Ponzi. This is not sideways. This is extremely bullish accumulation. Because these market makers are being forced to bid. Wow, especially with like how fast this could turn real ugly for these bears. It could turn ugly really fast for these damn bears. Real ugly, real fast. Honestly, all that I really want is I just want a beluga to come in as we're down near 65 to 64. If we literally just get one beluga, I'd be more than happy to sit there and say, fuck it, time to buy. Go. Especially into the closing bell. I'd be more than happy to do that shit. Although I don't know what they're doing right now. Okay, now where the hell's my damn t-shirt? I was told I would get a t-shirt for this. I want my t-shirt. Oh, very nice. Maybe we won't be getting any belugas then. See, now the squeeze can maybe potentially begin. Because like I said, it's all about probabilities, right? Timing is just a nuance that you kind of have to figure out between you and Rajiv himself. Literally, when Rajiv wants to tickle your pickle. You literally have to just basically figure out exactly when to time it. That's the challenge in this game. Where the hell is my damn t-shirt? I'm gonna chat with these motherfuckers. St. Gooses, give me my shirt. single beluga, though. Charm is getting weaker. Uh-oh. Here we go. Well, what is this? That's what I told you, nerds, to learn to trade the open. This is the method to the madness. Rajiv, I did trade the open. I tried 6 market orders, and they wouldn't fill me on any of them. No, expecting a shirt for rounding up his Walmart Plus order. How does the Walmart Plus thing actually work? No, I have to spend a minimum of $35 in order to get free shipping. That's pretty good. Rajiv, did you see the trades that I took today? Like, I took 2 trades today as practice trades, and I made $637, and then I lost $663 for literally the same exact trade twice. I bought a put for $9.50, and I sold it for $8.30, and then I bought a put for $8.30 and sold it for $9.50. And IBKR is saying, you lose $27. I'm like, how? How do I just go and lose $27? How? How the fuck do I lose $27? I don't understand. I don't understand. But Ibakara's like, sorry. Sucks to suck if you suck. I do not understand that. I mean, interesting. So these guys, these fuckers are actually using that as the spot. Interesting. Ever good, Charm. Ever good. Way to just wipe out Ponzi. That is our objective here. Wipe out the Ponzi. We need him dead. It's pretty good. Not bad. I feel like that's why day trading is so challenging, is it's literally all about perfect consistency. That's tough to do. Oh, here we go. I'm in a chat right now with the St. Jude's women, the St. Jude's people, and I'm like, hello, I donated. I would like my t-shirt that was advertised. Thank you very much.
So I went through a breakup.
What is this guy talking about?
Months ago.
Saint Tiana. What? Rajiv, what if I told you one of my comments on Instagram is blowing up right now and gaining a lot of traction?
Oh, yes, Rajiv. One of my Instagram comments. It is kind of gaining a little bit of traction. Let me see. I took a picture of it. 1 sec. There you go, Rajiv. It seems to be doing pretty decent. It's at 362. It's pretty good. My name and full address. The St. Nugs. It seems to be doing all right. Oh, that was a big player on VIX Futures. Uh-oh. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. In China, they smoke cigarettes at the desk while working. I didn't know that. It's pretty good. Damn. This guy was firing a freaking RPG and it basically just blew up in his face. You know... Wait, what? Stupid thing. Okay. What is this? Oh, locating the donor account. What size would you like? Large, please. Large, please. I feel like this is gonna drift higher. This has literally got Rajiv's a bitch written all over it, let me tell you. It's got Rajiv as a B written all over it. Mm-hmm. Just like I said, all we gotta do is move it up, dig it up, dig it up, Rajiv, name the song that goes to that movie. Name the movie that goes to that song. Actually, I'm sorry. What's the movie where that song is featured, Rajiv? You got 5 seconds. 5 seconds on the clock. 6 to 8 weeks for delivery. I gotta wait 6 to 8 weeks for this shirt. Oh man. Saint Nug. Can you imagine, Regine, if I started my own? I thought about starting a charity once. We'll call it Saint Nug. Saint Nug. Charity for degenerate gamblers. What is this? I certainly am not. What is this? Interesting how the last hour of the day, now they're actually running it up there with charm. They defended that level very well. Just using it as like raw accumulation the whole time, the whole way through. Interesting. I would probably say that this is when the market should probably go and start going up higher, getting us towards that 74.94 spot. Only about 20 points, give or take. It's not that high. I do not want to do this thing. No, the 1 days or the 0 days. That's risk. That's risky. 2, 4, 6, 8. Pretty good. I mean, the level is pretty obvious as to where it's really at, you know. Right back up through 74.40, I'd say keep going. Kind of surprised that there's no belugas on the lower end.
Oh, they accumulated that really well today. That's because of Charm. Charm is a bitch, let me tell you. As long as the market is just killing Ponzi, that's all that matters to you, folks. Correct. As long as Ponzi's dying, that's all we care about. Actually, a pretty good trading day today. I actually really like this because Charm's is literally doing its thing. Wow, that's interesting. See, that's difficult to play against. Difficult, even for you. That is kind of the craziness with these 0DTs, isn't it? There is one spot where this will sell. One. And it's 74.93. That's the only spot where these sellers can actually start ripping this thing back down after the charm is gone. Might stop using Quampa, it's besieging. Might do better without it. Well, fine by me. We don't want no Ponzicator around these parts of town. Let's see here, guys. Nah, I'm just kidding, Ponzi. 74.76. I'm actually kind of genuinely curious what seems to be going on between you and Master Sergeant Evo. It's pretty funny. I'll tell you what, Ponzi, I'm actually kind of getting a little tired. Why don't you take over and talk to the geese? We'll give you the floor. I'll go ahead and stop the live stream, guys. That way we can just kind of continue back in the Discord here. Let me actually stop the stream.